In the days of ancient Israel, there lived a woman named Hannah. She was married to a man named Elkanah. Elkanah loved Hannah deeply, but their home was filled with heartache. You see, Hannah had no children. In her culture, that was a heavy burden. Children were seen as a blessing and a sign of favor. Without them, Hannah often felt empty, forgotten, and ashamed. To make matters worse, Elkanah's other wife, Peninnah, had many children. And instead of showing kindness, Peninnah mocked Hannah. She would taunt her, reminding her of what she lacked. Imagine Hannah's pain, surrounded by reminders of her longing, ridiculed for something beyond her control. Every year, Elkanah would take his family to Shiloh to worship and offer sacrifices to the Lord. At these festivals, Peninnah's words cut even deeper. Hannah would weep so much she could not eat. One year, after a meal in Shiloh, Hannah did something bold. With tears streaming down her face, she went to the house of the Lord to pray. Her soul poured out like water. She wept and prayed silently, her lips moving but no sound coming out. Her prayer was raw and honest. Lord Almighty, if you will look upon my misery, remember me, and give me a son, I will give him back to you all the days of his life. This wasn't a casual request. Hannah was making a vow. If God granted her a child, she would dedicate him fully to the Lord. But as she prayed so intensely, the priest Eli noticed her. Seeing her lips move without sound, he thought she was drunk. He scolded her. "How long will you stay drunk? Put away your wine." Hannah, desperate but humble, answered, "I am not drunk. I am pouring out my soul before the Lord. I have been praying out of my deep anguish and grief." Eli's heart softened. He blessed her, saying, "Go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant you what you have asked of him." For the first time in a long time, Hannah's face lifted. She returned home with hope in her heart. In time, the Lord remembered Hannah. She conceived and gave birth to a son. She named him Samuel, which means, "Because I asked the Lord for him." The very gift she prayed for was now in her arms. Imagine her joy, the laughter of a child echoing through her home, replacing years of silence and sorrow. But Hannah didn't forget her promise. When Samuel was old enough to be weaned, she prepared herself for the hardest act of faith. She returned to Shiloh with her young son. Carrying sacrifices and gratitude, she brought Samuel to Eli the priest. She said, "I prayed for this child, and the Lord granted me what I asked. Now I give him to the Lord. For his whole life he will be given to God." There, little Samuel was left to grow up in the service of the Lord. And Hannah's heart, though surely aching, was also full of peace. She knew God had been faithful, and she had kept her vow. Hannah's story isn't just about a woman in ancient Israel. It's about faith, persistence, and surrender. Hannah teaches us that it's okay to pour out our hearts honestly before God. She shows us that prayer is not about fancy words, but about real, raw cries from the soul. She reminds us that God hears even when it feels like he is silent. And perhaps the most powerful lesson, Hannah kept her promise. She gave back to God what he had given her, showing that true faith is not only about receiving, but also about trusting and releasing. For anyone who has ever felt forgotten, mocked, or desperate for hope, Hannah's prayer shines like a light. It says, God sees you, God hears you, and in his time, he answers. So the next time you feel overlooked, remember Hannah. The tears she cried, the prayer she prayed, the faith she held on to, and the joy she received. Her story in 1 Samuel 1 still speaks today. God remembers, God answers.